Hey, assalamu alaikum, sisters. Peace. Um, I actually started this yesterday, but the lighting in my room is so bad, even with the ring light. So I am redoing it today in the daylight from the car. And so, but with that being said, some things I had my computer, my laptop with me so I could read certain things off the computer. I don't have that option today, so inshallah, I will just send links where necessary. So, yesterday, of course, we did not do the Zoom, which because there was only a few of you who I had actually heard from, um, and it just it was more feasible just to do it like this time because some of y'all had other stuff you had to get into, and what I don't want this to become is a burden on anyone. So hence the every other week and stuff like that. And think Allah, with technology we can have other options. So there you go. So yesterday would have been the first time for us to have a meeting based on Islam itself, like the basic tenements or tenets of Islam. So what I'm going to talk about are basically four things today. So what is Islam? Who is Allah? Who is Muhammad? And who is a Muslim? And what I want to get into at the end of each whatever lesson or whatever, the end of each, I have to figure out proper terminology for this group because it always seems weird to me to say class or meeting, or I don't know, y'all tell me what to call this thing. But at the end, I want to always offer a dua or a prayer, and I'll touch on that more in depth, that whole word. And to offer a dua and also a dhikr, which I'll also talk about inshallah. Um, at the end of it, for us to sort of focus on and contemplate, if we so choose, during the couple of weeks before we meet again. So, with that being said, let me go on, move on, because I hopefully this is not going to be as long as it would be if we had actually met up. So the first thing, what is Islam? Anybody who knows me knows I have a little pet peeve of Islam being called a religion. We live it or practice it as a religion, but Islam actually is not a religion. It is a spirituality, and there is a difference in my mind and in my observations just of the world, like historically, and just me having lived on this earth about half a century now. Religions seem to me to be not only something that is like man-made, and oftentimes religions are really not, they kind of turn out not to be geared to actually benefit the people. It seems to be more about laws, regulations to control the people and to keep people, at bay with all our humanistic BS that we do. Which, and I'm not saying I think religion is wrong or bad or anything like that, but I don't see Islam in the same way. Islam is a spirituality because it actually deals with the inner self. We see it in practice most often as an outer self, which I think is why we mess up so much. One of the reasons why we mess up so much. But anyway, Islam is a spirituality, and as we go on in the weeks, inshallah, I will be able to show you how so. There is me talking about the inner. So there's a hadith, which I don't have with me right now. I will send it to y'all, inshallah. There's a hadith, which is a tradition, like a story or information that talks about traditions or things that the Prophet Muhammad did, the way he acted. Everything is not directly related to things he did, because some things he didn't do, but he was like, well, you could do it, I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? I think that really gets lost into what a lot of Muslims, themselves get into. Again, we can get into that another time. But there's a hadith. What the heck was I going to say about the hadith and what happened to my light? There's a hadith that says in the last days, like Christianity, Judaism, Islam is going to have like 71, 72, and 73 different sects. And I'm going to look that up. I want to say it's an authentic hadith, but I will check all that stuff out. But suffice to say, there are many, many different sects, or how in Christianity, I guess they say denominations within Islam. And that's just because with individuals, I had a psychology teacher once. He used to talk about your phenomenological sphere, that everyone has their own phenomenological sphere, which just basically means that we all have our own perspectives and insights based upon how we, that whole nature and nurture, how who we are just innately, as well as what we have gained from observation, what we have gained from, being taught. The Bible talks about how raise a child in the way he should go and he'll never depart from it. So whatever we're taught as little ones, they say up to like age 5, it truly becomes a part of who we are, because it's just something we can't shake, not without like a whole lot of like trying. Y'all know I got an old brain and old memory. So yeah, so we there's so many different sects in Islam, because we come from different regions of the world. We have different histories, we have different cultures, and so Islam does not bog you down to everybody got to be like this. You know what I mean? The Quran itself embraces culture and encourages us to live and embrace Islam itself according to our culture, so long as it does not go against Islam. So if your culture, just for instance, if your culture is to have roasted pig like every first of the month, you can't do that, because in Islam we don't eat pig. But like all the other stuff you do that does not go against, again, Quran, Sunnah, Islam itself, then feel free, you can do that. So I mean, some of you may be thinking like, well, that's weird, because I see so many black folks or whoever walking around emulating Arab people. That's not something that we are told to do or forced to do within Islam. We all have our own cultures. There are many African nations, many Asian nations. In fact, the biggest popularity of Muslims in the world is Indonesia or Malaysia, Asia. So there's a lot of different sects because of that. Within those sects that we have, and because you'll hear like on the news or in academia, they always talk about Sunni versus Shiite. Where we live, I mean, you don't really hear about Shiite anything, you know what I mean? So it's not something that is prevalent in our minds. But if you were to, again, listen to the media, listen to professors and such, you would think, oh, it's Shia against Sunni, and that's the only thing it is. It's not. But one of the very prevalent sects or denominations within Islam are it's the Mutasawwif. We usually hear of them called Sufis, but Tasawwuf is a how do you say? Not a philosophy, but is a, how do you say? it's a sect or whatever in Islam. Not even a sect in Islam. It's a it's a way. I can't think of the word. It's a way of practicing Islam which deals with the inner self. So it's something I dig a lot since I've learned about it when I was like a teen or whatever. I just have not disciplined myself. Inshallah, before I die, I will get there. But Tasawwuf is really dope to me because, again, it deals with the inner self. Now, it does also include the physical aspects. And by physical, I mean the wearing of the kimar or the hijab, how people say now. Wearing modest clothing, making the wudu, offering the salat. All those things, but it's about balance because there is, dang it, I don't have it with me, I'm so mad. It's on the computer. Well, I'll send it to you, inshallah. But there's a explanation for tasawwuf, I guess you could say, where the symbol that they use is the walnut, where it says that Islam is like a walnut. You have the outer husk of the walnut, which is the physical realm of Islam. So it deals with all those ritualistic things that we do, again, the dress, all that sort of thing. And then the inner fleshy part of the walnut is tasawwuf. And that's like the spiritual self, You can't have one without the other. They complement one another. It's a great, great balance. And so that's how they symbolize Islam as being. And I would encourage you to look into that just like for further information, or if you want, I can actually maybe send you a couple of videos or whatever. There's some really like well-known, I guess, imams who have videos and stuff online. One of them is Hamza Yusuf. Hamza Yusuf, he's this white brother who converted ages ago. He and there's another brother. This brother is African American. Dang, what is his name? They have a school over in California, which is really dope. And to me, anyway, it seems really dope. And it, again, it teaches Islam, but it also teaches that other reality. Now, one of the things with Sufism, which does not, I'm not going to say it's not conducive to Islam, but to me, it's not conducive to Islam. A lot of Sufi tariqas, they call them, they put a lot of emphasis on like imams and stuff like that, and preferably imams who have passed away that they have a lot of respect for, but they do a lot of ritualistic type things. My father actually studied tasawwuf, not well necessarily, but he did study it. And like their imam is a brother who passed away long ago, a Pakistani guy. But there are like tariqas all over the place, throughout Asia, throughout Africa. And again, that's something else to go deeper into later. I gotta stay focused. Islam is referred to as the religion of peace because, of course, we do go for peace first. But, we got to protect ourselves. We got to protect ourselves. In the Quran, when the Prophet Islam and his companions, when they would have to fight or whatever, first of all, they wouldn't even fight back for a long time until the revelation came to saying, okay, it's time you got to fight back. You got to protect yourself. Much like in the Bible in the book of Matthew when, Isa, the Messiah, Jesus, he went into the garden to pray and everything. And he got the revelation saying, it's time to get down and do this. And so he told his, disciples, his companions, like, all right, y'all need to go sell your clothes or whatever you got to do. We got to get some swords because it's about to be on and popping. It's always funny to me how people like to refer to the Messiah as the solid. Oh, yes, peace, God bless you, be with you. He was all of them things, but he was also like, oh, we can do this. You know what I mean? And so you have to have that balance. Um, but so yeah, Islam is considered or is referred to as a religion of peace because of those things or whatever, but also because actually Islam is derived from the word salam, which means peace. And salam is actually the seventh name or attribute of Allah, which is as-salam, meaning the peace. Islam is a submission to the Creator, and we will go into that in a minute. It's submission to the Creator. I guess we can get deeper into that as the weeks go on. In Quran, surah, first of all, surah in Arabic is chapter, and ayah in Arabic is verse. So Quran, and when you see chapters and verses written, like referring to the Quran, is written the same way as it is for the Bible. So it's 51:56. It says, and I, Allah, created not the jinn and humans, except they should worship me alone. Is also in the Quran. I'll send all this to y'all, inshallah. It's also in the Quran where, what's I getting ready to say? Well, basically, it's the same thing. So, when it talks about the creation story in the Quran, it talks about how, so there were angels and there were jinns. You may hear people talk about jinns in a negative, like they're demons, demonic type figures, but they were not all that way. And so there was one Iblis, who later, after he was kicked out, his name became Shaitan, but his name was Iblis. And so he was actually a jinn. And remember, they have problems with us, not the Creator. So they worship the Creator and everything, just like, the angels do. And I guess you could say to a degree they're very obedient, probably far more than we humans are, which was the point of what he was making, which I'll get to in a second. But so, he had elevated himself in rank because he was like so pious and everything, and he was like a great student and things of that nature. And so it came a time where Allah formed human man, which of course we also call Adam, who is our father. So Allah created Adam and told the angels and the jinn to bow to Adam in a way of showing reverence, And so Iblis was like, I'm not bowing down to him. Like, you made him out of dirt. I'm made out of fire. Why on earth? He's like beneath me. You know what I mean? And so like all the other angels and stuff bowed and did what the Creator said do. Iblis was like cocky and just arrogant and egotistical. Was like, I'm better than him. Why should I have to bow down to him? And so Allah was like, you're not gonna listen to me. You gotta go. And so he was like, fine, I will go. Of course, this is in my vernacular. He said, I'll go, but I'm going to just let me prove to you that this human that you made is not worthy of everything that you're giving him, these gifts that you're allowing him, the gift of free will. Because the angels, they just do. They don't have free will. They do what they are told. Allah gave humans the opportunity to differentiate, to learn, differentiate, and decide for ourselves. Sometimes I really wish I didn't have that gift, because I mess up quite often. But voila. And so hence this whole thing, us against the Shia team. And there you have it. But so yeah, submission. We are to submit to Allah, and Allah has given human, the Bible talks about dominion over the earth, or how do they say in Islam, like Khalifa of the earth, like successor, what have you of the earth. All right, let's move on, because I've been running my mouth for 20 whole minutes. So, number 2, who is Allah? So, Allah is the creator. Another pet peeve of mine that people who know me well, I guess, or who maybe watch my YouTube channel now, another pet peeve I have is calling Allah God. I know this is common just all across the board in Islam and whatever. My problem with it is this. Allah, number one, Allah is the creator of all. In Islam, every day, hopefully, if we're doing right, every day, at least 5 times a day, we recite Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the first chapter in the Quran. And when we offer the salat, we have to repeat it, depending on which salat we're doing. We repeat it 2 times, 3 times, or 4 times. And within that, it says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, meaning all praises for Allah, Lord of the worlds. So, worlds, meaning we ain't the only ones, right? But the creator, So, that is not a God. See, to my understanding, and I wish we could, like, discuss this right now, but of course we cannot. Not right now. To me, it seems that a God can be anything. Gods are made by humans. Whether we put him in the form of statues, whether it's in the form of food, sex, clothes, whatever, myths, ancestors, all these sorts of things, they all have limitations, and we can pick them up, put them down at will. So it's like they got power, they don't have power. You know what I mean? That is not the creator. Allah is in control of everything. Again, we're talking about Islam here. From Islamic perspective, Allah, the creator, is in control of everything. We know from Surah Al-Ikhlas, or it's also called Surah Al-Ahad, which says, Qul hu Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakunnahu kufuwan ahad. That's telling us that Allah is one. Allah has no partners or anything like that. So remember, Christianity had already begun during the time that the Prophet lived. The Prophet was born in 570 AD, and he passed away in 632. So he was like 62 years old. Christianity existed, and so they spoke of the Trinity and things like that. And if you know, like, the history of Christianity within the Roman Empire and stuff of that nature, they were like, in order to get Rome had a whole bunch of, like, a plethora of deities. And so the people who first came into Christianity, they were like the beaten and downtrodden and oppressed. So you had the women, because women had basically no power or anything back then. You had peasants and such. Status and the ability to progress in status, financially, all those things, it was only for a very, very select few. And so people who came to Christianity, they were the people who were just like, and it wasn't easy. Christians had it crazy hard in the beginning. They were being slaughtered and all kind of things. But, they persevered. And the people, how it grew is because those, again, oppressed and downtrodden people came on board and was like, no, we want to pray to this God. And in fact, back then, in the beginning, Christians were seen as atheists because they prayed to one God, this one Jesus being. And then of course they said like, well, he's the son, he's the father, and he's, the angel, the spirit, or the Holy Ghost. But they were seen as being atheists because essentially they still said it's just this one dude that we worship. Whereas again, Romans, they had a plethora of gods. So Christians were seen as being atheists. And so, eventually, blah, 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 they got these people, more and more people started coming on board. And, I keep losing my train of thought. They came on board, but they also brought, remnants of their own theologies and their gods and stuff. So that's why you see a lot of things going now with Easter and stuff like that, but that's a whole different story. But bringing it back to Muhammad, they knew about not just Christians and the Trinity and such, but like all these other gods that people pray to. So Surah Ikhlas made it clear, Allah is one. Allah don't have any partners. There's no Trinity. There's no how they have the multi gods in India and stuff like that, Shiva and Ganesh and all them. There ain't none of that here. Allah has no sons, no daughters. Allah was not born. None of that stuff. And so, that was to differentiate, to tell people this is what we're about here. And so we don't, we don't refer to Allah as the Father, any of that kind of stuff, because I have heard people say that, but I know it's because they don't really know Islam. Oftentimes we get Islam in very, especially where we're from, down in North, in that whole area, especially older cats. I remember I met this brother, and he sent me a picture, and he had a cross on. But he had been Muslim. He considered himself or identified as Muslim for years. But as we talked, he explained to me he didn't, I think his father or something like that identified as Muslim, but he came with his mother's family, which is common, right? And and the mother's family was Christian, so he didn't really know Islam, but he just kind of being in the streets and stuff like that. So it started putting stuff together for himself, but he didn't have any actual scriptural knowledge on either side. I actually knew far more about scripture than he did, so far as Bible and stuff like that. So I would try to teach him different things. But you see that a lot. And not just in America, let me tell you. You also see that from people who are from Islamic countries, or who may have immigrated to the UK, to America and stuff like that. I watch a whole lot of YouTube. And so you hear them talk about things like, I didn't even know this, or I didn't even know that. So we tend to think I guess, in America, if somebody is from an Islamic country, just by default, they know everything about Islam. It's just not so many times. And so, yeah, we don't refer to Allah in those terms. Asmaul Husna. Asmaul Husna are it means beautiful names, and it refers to what we often hear called the 99 names of Allah. And so they're all attributes or descriptions of Allah. Now, Islamic tradition says that we were given, they say 99 plus 1. It's 100. I don't know why they say that. But, so I don't know if they're saying this is the main name and then these are the attributes, but 99 plus 1. But that the prophets and the angels know far more than we do. But this is what we have been gifted with. And so, going back to my whole idea, well, y'all can watch the video on YouTube if you want to. And also Allah is an ancient name, and they have names that are very similar in the Aramaic and the like Hebrew and stuff like that. Like when you see again in the Bible, in the book of Matthew, what have you, when they say that the Messiah was on the cross, which, you know, in Islam we don't believe that. The Quran, chapter 4, verse 151, I want to say, it talks about the crucifixion and how the Messiah was not crucified, and that people who say that strictly speak from conjecture, that they don't actually know this. So yeah, that is, I believe it's 151, or it's one, it's like 151 or 152, something like that. So yeah, but like in the Bible, we talk about him being on the cross, and he says, how's it go? Eli, Eli, sabachthani? No, I forgot how it goes, but it's saying like, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? The word Eli, my God, is ancient Aramaic, blah blah blah, very the same as Eli, Allah. It's just a variant. Next, how much time am I taking? Next, who is Muhammad? So, first of all, Al Quran, Surah 48, Ayah 29. It says, Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those with him are firm with the disbelievers and compassionate with one another. So, let's go into the Prophet Muhammad, if you don't know. The Prophet Muhammad, first of all, is not Elijah Muhammad. When we talk about the Prophet Muhammad, we're not talking about Elijah. Who I have respect for, because I was born into the Nation of Islam, so far be it from me to like say anything disrespectful about the brother, even though I watched the Who Killed Malcolm and I was utterly devastated. I cried and cried and cried and cried, because I'm from Temple 25 and my father was an FOI lieutenant. If you've seen the documentary, you understand my meaning. But anyway, so who is Muhammad? Again, Muhammad, he was born in 570 AD. He passed away in 632. He was born to, his mom's name was Amin or Amina, and his father's name was Abdullah, I believe, or Abdullah. He was actually an orphan because his father passed away when his mom was pregnant with him, and then she passed away like shortly after he was born, what have you. And so he actually had to have a wet nurse being another woman who, you know, breastfeeds a child, because back then, of course, they didn't have like pasteurized milk or like formulas and all that sort of thing, or people, you know, donating their breast milk and such. So you had to get someone to nurse your child if you were too sick or couldn't produce enough milk or anything like that, and you had to pay her, of course. This is all in the Quran, because if nothing else, the Quran is about fairness, and Allah is about fairness. Al-Adl is one of the names of Allah, meaning the just. So yeah, he had to have a wet nurse and everything, so he went to live with her for a while. She was a Bedouin living in the desert. They all lived in the desert, but she was a Bedouin. And she took great care of him and, you know, nurtured him and everything. And then eventually he went to live with his uncle and his uncle's family. He was from the Quraysh tribe. The Qurayshi were very, very well respected people within the whole Saudi Arabian region or what have you. They were very, very well respected. They had all kinds of power and everything, and that actually helped him a lot. After he received revelation, that helped him a lot, because they would have straight murderized him. Like truly, they, as it were, they got a whole lot of hell. But again, they left him alone, because it's like, first of all, he had a very, very good reputation like throughout his life. He was just known as being a very respectable, very honorable person, very fair. He was known to like never lie. He never cheated people because they also were huge merchants. I just read this oh gosh, what is the name of it? There is this catalog essentially that was written way back in the day, Chinese, because Chinese and all these cats, they were like big explorers. Yeah, they were really big explorers, and I can't remember the name. I think it was during the Shang Dynasty. But anyway, people used to come, about the silk trade or whatever, the Silk Road. People would come from all over with their wares and like sell it. The Arabs, people loved their wares because they had all types of things that people found exotic, and they were just really hard to get. So when they would come, they would like come with some realness and make all that money. So anything from like cardamom and like different spices, curries and stuff like that, to frankincense, myrrh, to just like the rugs and the tapestry and just everything. So they had it on and popping. Okay, bear all this in mind because they were big on merchants. In fact, the Prophet's first wife, Khadijah, she was rich. She had her own business, and he actually worked for her and everything. But I'll get to that in a second. So his family, the Qurayshi, they were, the tribe was the Qurayshi. His uncle and them were very well respected in the community. And so Muhammad, he was just like a very introspective type person. And he just didn't like what he saw. You know what I mean? He like, the Kaaba was there. The Kaaba was there since, Ibrahim and them. And so they had actually turned the Kaaba into a, kind of like the Pantheon over in, Rome or wherever. They had all these idols in there and everything. And you hear people who don't know what they're talking about be like, well, Allah used to be a woman. He used to pray to him. That's a lot. That's something different. They did used to pray to these statues and stuff. And he wasn't feeling it. He was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't know what to do with this. And my people, they're just like so cutthroat. They just want to make money. Just, like a lot of us go through nowadays. Like when we see things happening, it's just, it can fill you with like a sense of melancholy sometimes. You don't even know what's going on with your body. You just like, just don't feel right, And so he would leave often and just kind of isolate himself and, just contemplate and meditate and kind of question and just be alone. My son does that a lot. My son is always in the woods. He lives in the woods, but you get what I'm saying. And so, after a while, this was a big place about, they would have great caravans going off to sell their wares in other regions and stuff. And so this is what he did as a job for a bit. And even though he was illiterate, like he couldn't read or anything, he was still extremely smart. You can be extremely smart and make it well in life without having to read. I know, because I used to test people in basic literacy, and like adults, and some of them would have really good jobs, but they couldn't read. Like literally, they didn't know the sounds of letters or anything. It's really eye-opening. And so, he used to do this and stuff. And so he had a great reputation again. He ended up working for Khadijah, who would become his wife, because she sent him off with one of her servants. And they went and did business, and the servant came back and said, like, yeah, he's like really good. He made more money than her other people did, which I don't know if that's because he was just good like that, or if the other people were taken off the top. But either way, she started liking him because of his character and stuff like that. She was 40, he was 25. She had her girl like, yo, go and find out what's up with this Muhammad, dude. And so they ended up marrying and stuff. And so like 15 years later, they're together, it's all groovy and everything. He again used to go off into the cave, and then one night he's up there in the cave and this angel comes to him, and he was like so entirely afraid. He thought that he was possessed because, you know, they know about genies or whatever. He thought he was possessed. And this is when he received the revelation for the Quran, the first revelation for the Quran. And so he got out of there. So the way the Quran talks about it, it says that the angel came and he squeezed him and told him, like, Iqra, read. And he's like, I can't, like, I don't know, I'm not a reader, you know. And he squeezed him again and he said, read. And he's like, I can't, I don't know how. And so he like squeezed him and told him again, and then he tells him, I'll send you the surah. There's a whole surah about this. It's not long though. And so he like hot tails off that mountain, gets home to Khadija, and he's just like wigging out, you know, because he thinks he's been possessed. And he's like shaking and he's frightened, and, you know, she covers him with a blanket and she's like, wait, what's going on? And he tells her, he's like, I've been possessed, the jinn got me and all this. And she's like, no, you're too good a person. The Creator will not do this to you. Something got to be going down. So she actually ends up sending him to her cousin, who is a Christian man, who is he knows scripture very well. And he tells him, like, ooh, you're the one that they said is going to come, the comforter, the Ahmad. That's you. So 1,500 years later, here I am making a video. So that's the deal with that. And so we regard him, we believe him to be the last prophet. And the last prophet meaning there were other prophets before him, which is so crazy to me whenever I hear these scholars or whoever always say that Muhammad brought Islam. He did not bring Islam, but he brought it back, maybe. But remember, the Quran tells us that Allah, there is not a nation of people that Allah did not send a prophet to. So we learn Islam from the perspective of, or from the placement of, you know, the East, Arabs and stuff. But Allah sent messengers to all people. So why not Native Americans? Dude, I mean, they say there are 124,000 prophets and messengers that Allah sent. But we know a handful. So there are many prophets that Allah has sent. But again, we as Muslims believe that Muhammad alayhi salam was the last. So, who is a Muslim? Okay. A Muslim is someone, of course, who practices or lives, however you want to say it, Islam. That's the 1-2 of it, right? So we have the basic beliefs of a Muslim. Basic things that will make you a Muslim is that you believe in Allah, you believe in the Prophet Muhammad, that the Prophet Muhammad is a, you know, messenger of Allah, and, you know, the last of the prophets sent. You believe in the Quran, and by extension, you believe in the ahadith, so the authentic stories and such about the Prophet Muhammad, things that he did, things he, you know, did, said, suggested, all those sorts of things. And there are many hadiths, not just Bukhari and Muslim, that are authentic. So the foundation, these are the things that we often hear spoken of as the 5 pillars of Islam. These are the basics again. So you have to have Iman, which is faith, and within that, which we'll talk about in a minute with the kalimas, within that is the declaration of Shahada. To be an actual Muslim, to be an official Muslim, the same way you have to make an oath to become a lawyer or a police officer, what have you, you have to actually make an oath. Like, you could run around all day with a gun and a, little badge that you made up and try to arrest people while you want to. You're not a police officer. You know what I mean? So in Islam, you do have to take shahada. You have to bear witness publicly, or at least with one other person. I think it could just be one person. I've seen it done like that. But anyway, you have to take shahada. So your first thing is to declare your faith. So that's Iman. The second thing of the 5 pillars of the 5 foundations is Salah. Salah, people, including Muslims and such, people say that Muslims pray 5 times a day. Number one, you don't only have to make 5 salah a day. You're obligated to make at least 5 salah a day. And there are, it's all ritualistic. So there's certain times and certain ones that we do. But there are also sunnahs that you can do. A sunnah, again, is a tradition of the Prophet. So there were salat that he did, which were beside the obligatory. But salah is more of a worship. It's all ritualistic, as I said. There are certain positions you have to do. There are certain words you have to say, certain prayers you have to say. But a dua is a prayer. And there are a whole bunch of them. And there are ones, you could just make it up as you go. Your relationship with Allah is very, very personal. Again, there are certain things that as Muslims we have to do, which are ritualistic. But is you and Allah? If you ever had a child, I'm telling you, I always feel like the closest, before I actually almost died. But for me, pregnancy or labor, giving birth, I used to just feel so close to Allah, because for me, that's all it was. It was me and Allah, because that pain, and you're so close to death, like you can really die like that giving birth, which is why if we in Islam, if you die giving birth, you go to Jannah, heaven. Like all that junk you did that you've been praying not to go to hell for, like you could. So yeah, for me, that was the closest, you know what I'm saying, that I used to feel. But anyway, I will digress. My fault. So we have Amen, we have Salat. Then you have Psalm. Psalm is fasting, and in particular the fasting during the month of Ramadan, which is the 9th month on the Islamic calendar. The Islamic calendar being a lunar calendar. The Gregorian calendar that we follow here in the States is, solar. So the lunar calendar, because you know how the moon is, 28 days or whatever. Well, between 28 and 30 days. It changes. Things change every year. So Ramadan changes. It moves up around about 2 weeks every year. So it's never going to be the same. And it takes like a full 30 years to come back around. So for instance, my son Bilal was born in Ramadan in 1997, he was born on December 8th, and it was Ramadan. The next time it will be Ramadan at that same time, he'll be 30 years old. So now he's 23, mashallah, I think. 23. Yeah, he's 23. So it takes that much time to make a full 360. But there are other times that we fast, which are not obligatory, but it's like suggested or whatever. And then you can just fast whenever you want to. Then the sunnah is, the Prophet used to fast every Monday and Thursday. So, but again, within the foundation of 5 pillars, fasting is, referring to the fast of Ramadan. So we have Iman, Zakat, Salah, Saum. Now we have Zakat. Zakat is charity, but more like alms, how they say in, I guess Christianity or maybe like tithes. But the difference is, at least from what I see from Christians that I know, in Christianity, they have to give tithes before they do anything else. In Islam, we do everything we got to do, and then what we have left over, we give for zakat. I think it's like 2.5% of whatever you have. Now, a lot of us, we're privileged, you know what I'm saying? How many times we waste money just buying snack? I wasted $8 this morning just getting some daggone cookies and juice. It's ridiculous. So, you know, oftentimes whenever we go to the masjid for Salatul Juma on Fridays, we just give zakat, you know what I'm saying? And again, that is obligatory. Then you also have Halaqa, which is also charity, but it's just what you give to people, and it all benefits you, you know what I'm saying? And then the last thing we have is Hajj. So Hajj is the pilgrimage that we make, Muslims make every year to Mecca. It is obligatory, but this is the thing what I love. One of the many things that I really love and appreciate about Allah, because Allah does not look to put burdens on us. So yes, Hajj is obligatory, but only if you can make it. Only if you can afford it. Only, if you cannot go, then you can send someone else. You know what I mean? So, like, I have like health issues, which I don't really know how it would be for me flying, because I might clot or something. I'm not sure. But like if I had the money, which is expensive nowadays, it's really expensive. But if I could afford it, like I could send my son, you know what I mean? And he would get the blessings, and I would get blessings also. But so those are the five basic things, well, 5 of the basic things, and we refer to them as the 5 pillars of Islam. Then after that, we have other things which you don't really hear about all the time. Let me just see what I have here. I have some notes. Oh, this is from a hadith in At-Tirmidhi, number 2609, and it was narrated by Ibn Umar, which is the son of Umar. It says, Islam is based upon 5. The testimony of La ilaha illallah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. That is the shahada. When we take shahada, we say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. And we say it. It said during the call to prayer, if you live anywhere where there are other Muslims, like masjids, you might hear it come on the speaker. That's just part of it though. So Islam is based on 5. The testimony of La ilaha illallah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. The establishment of the Salah, giving the Zakat, fasting the monthly Ramadan, and the performing Hajj to the house. And those are all the things I just mentioned to you. So something else that we have is called the 6 kalimas. So this is not an obligation. This is not like in the Quran necessarily, not as a set anything to do. But they are like, again, basic beliefs, or like Aqidah, basic beliefs that Muslims have. And millions of Muslims all over the world learn these and like recite these and stuff like that. Not necessarily in the Black Muslim community, whatever that means, but like we didn't grow up hearing about it. I didn't hear about them until I was probably in my 20s, and my father had this book called Talimul Haq, which he gave to me to read, suggested to me to read, but he made my son read. In fact, he made my son, he had the rights, word for word, everything in the book. But my son is like bomb with research right now on lectures and stuff like that. Alhamdulillah. So there's something called the 6 kalimas, and it is kalimat tayyib, which is purity. And kalima means word, by the way. Kalima shahada, which is the declaration of faith. Tamjid, which is glorification. Tawheed, which is unity, Astaghfar, which is repentance, and Radikuf, which is rejecting disbelief. And I will send you a link so that you can look those up for yourself and be able to read them because they are on my computer at home. Another 6 things, again dealing with Akida, with faith, is or are the 6 articles of faith. And I don't think I said Akida is faith, and fiqh, it's like the laws. So the 6 articles of faith is Tawheed, which is the oneness of Allah. Belief in the angels, the Malaika, and the 4 main are Jibril, Mikhail, Israfil, and Asrael. Belief in the Quran, belief in the prophets and messengers, and I will send you, or you can look up yourself, the Quran, Surah 2, Ayat 285, so 2nd verse, 285th verse. 2nd chapter, 285th verse. It talks about how we are not to make distinctions between any of the prophets. And belief in the last day of belief in the day of judgment. And because we believe in Islam and the day of judgment, that we're going to be judged for all the good or positive things we did, as well as all the bad or negative things that we did, and however it balances out. Because again, Allah is al-Adl, the just, and alhamdulillah, Allah deals with us by our intentions, because Lord, if we are only judged on the things we do, I don't know, I wouldn't have a chance, to be honest, like truthfully. And then the 6th thing is belief in the power of Allah, which is Qadr. You probably hear that a lot, the Qadr of Allah. Okay, finally, Dua is 56 minutes and 55 seconds in. I'm going to try to end this by an hour or before. So a dua, well, what was a dua I want to give? Dang it, I left it at home, my book. I'll tell you a dua you can do that's very easy to remember and learn, and you probably already know it. Bismillah. Bismillah just means like in the name of Allah. And so you can say Bismillah anytime. So before you eat your food, Bismillah. Before you walk into a bathroom, Bismillah. Before you walk outside, Bismillah. Before you make love to your husband, Bismillah. Truly anything, you know. And it's sort of just invoking that energy, that power of Allah, of the Creator, and even like protection, you know what I mean? So that's dua, a prayer. So if you want to, you can focus on that and learn that and apply it to your life, inshallah. And then the dhikr. Dhikr I did not mention. Dhikr, or some, depending on the region, they will pronounce it zikr. So dhikr means like remembrance. And it becomes, some people may call it a chant or what have you, but it's something that you repeat, is repetitive, and it invokes again certain powers, certain energies, certain protections, depending on what it is that you are dhikring. So this dhikr I like a lot. I try to remember to do it every day, at least twice a day, and it is Allahumma ajirni min anar. So again, Allahumma ajirni min anar. And that means, oh Allah, protect me from the fire. And a dhikr that you can do with that is, it said if you say it 7 times, like during the day, that if you die before nightfall, like if you die during the day, you'll be in heaven before nightfall or by nightfall. And likewise, if you say it 7 times at night and you pass away during the night, then by the morning you'll already be in heaven. So I've not died yet, but it's worth a try. All right, 59 minutes, 44 seconds. Assalamu alaikum. I'm so sorry it took so long for me to finish this, but it's still shorter than it would have been had we been on Zoom. So I love y'all, and I really hope that you have a wonderful 2 weeks. If we don't speak before then, hit me up, and inshallah, I will try to send those things to you soon, okay? But please be patient with me because I am doing school and doing work and trying to sleep, which don't happen too often. But peace.